Another horrific day in the markets today. If this thing breaks loose, we're going to see devastation in America similar to that of a nuclear bomb going off. Hey, real quick, guys, I was just watching the press conference with Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Dumb and Dumber. And they took most of their time attacking the president because he is threatening to shut the government down if he does not get the $5 billion to build the wall, as he promised to do before he was elected. This is one of the number one reasons Trump got elected, because he promised to build a wall to stop illegals and drug traffickers and human trafficking and all the other problems coming over the border every day. You know, like the 1,500 people a day who are coming over illegally, the terrorism, the gangs, the human traffickers, the cartels. This is why Trump was elected. So you have Dumb and Dumber up there minutes ago saying that Chuck Schumer, quoted, I'm not going to quote it exactly, but he says Trump is plunging the country into chaos. No, Chuck Schumer, you are plunging the country into chaos. You, Nancy Pelosi, and all the rest of you socialists. Trump was elected to build the wall. The people of America want the wall. They want to be protected. They are sick of illegal aliens flooding into America. They're sick of drugs flooding into America. These two people, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, have almost 70 years in political office. This is where we're at today in America. We're bankrupt. We've been invaded by multiple nations. We're being attacked and invaded by globalism, by the central banks. And these two right here are two of the main reasons why we're at where we're at in America. Not the only reason, but they're two examples, Dumb and Dumber, of why America is in the shape that it is in. They are selling America out. They've been selling America out for decades. They've gotten rich off bringing over illegal aliens and sending your jobs to Asia. These two people right here are two enemies of America. Take a good look at Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. These are two of the biggest enemies of the United States of America, and they're sitting there demonizing and attacking the president who wants to protect America and build a wall. These people have no problem giving billions of dollars to other countries, but we can't get $5 billion to build a wall and protect America. These people are the two biggest enemies of America right there, Dumb and Dumber. Let's get into the financial situation that we're witnessing take place right now, and why I believe it will get much worse before it gets better. Number one, the country is $22 trillion in debt. We're $200+ trillion in debt if you include unfunded liabilities, Medicare, Medicaid, and unfunded pensions. Global debt, we're now in the quadrillions as regards to global debt. Another big reason why things will continue to get worse and why they've gotten to this point is all the bank manipulation. You know, the banks have manipulated the bond market, they've manipulated the precious metals market, and they've even manipulated economies. So everything we've been witnessing is a giant illusion. We don't know what fair market value is with precious metals, what it is with bonds, what it is in regards to a lot of things, economies, because these banks have manipulated so much, pushing prices up on things that should have never reached these hyperinflated values. Again, we are witnessing and living in a total illusion. We're witnessing these markets crashing at this point. I mean, every day it just seems like it's continuing to get worse. Again, $22 trillion in debt. $1 trillion is being added every year to the American taxpayer. $1 trillion of debt being added every year to you. Corporate debt is at a historic high with $6.3 trillion in total debt, and the largest companies holding $2.1 trillion in cash as a hedge. Household debt, all-time high, $13.3 trillion. Average household credit card is exceeding $7,000. We've added $618 billion of household debt compared to what we had in 2008. Again, U.S. credit card debt is over $1 trillion. So people are just acquiring more and more debt. Once again, debt levels are spiking beyond the lines crossed before the 2008 crash. We need to really pay attention to that. Again, this isn't China and tariffs and trade wars. This is debt and interest rates. Adding to the illusion, real estate. We've had a real estate market highly influenced by major corporations, one of them being BlackRock. They purchased thousands of homes, thousands, then turned them into rental properties, okay? And this continued to spike the prices up with all these purchases. Properties that were not bought by citizens, private, U.S. citizens, families. These were purchased by corporations, spiking the prices up and turning these homes into rental properties because they're pricing people out. People were at the point where they couldn't buy homes because they couldn't afford it. They got priced out of the market because of corporations like this. And now a lot of these people were forced into renting properties from corporations that pushed them out of the market. The auto market was kept alive by adjustable rate mortgage style loans. These are the same type of loans that were responsible for the 2008 housing crash. They're now in the auto sector. Today, the housing market and auto market are beginning to crash as the Fed raises interest rates. Holding these loans is becoming more expensive. Credit cards are going to be more expensive. Home loans, auto loans, college tuition loans, across the board, everything, borrowing money is going to get more expensive. And paying this debt down, this $22 trillion of debt, is going to get even more expensive. We've gone over this before, but I'm giving you my reasons why the economy continues to get worse, especially when they're not manipulating it as much. Corporate debt, GE, $115 billion in debt. Pensions promised that's an additional $100 billion. So if you take in the pension plan and you take in their debt, they're over $215 billion in debt. We will see continued layoffs into 2019 with General Electric. General Motors, $102 billion of debt. They hold $35 billion in cash versus $102 billion of debt. They're cutting 14,000 jobs and closing multiple plants. Again, rate hikes and tariffs are not the killer. These companies, the reason these companies are in trouble is because of the amount of debt that they have acquired. Ford, they've got a debt rate. Their debt rating has been downgraded. Their current liabilities are $100 billion, $25 billion in cash holdings versus $100 billion in debt. Companies like this really could have prevented the situation they're in if they weren't taking the free money from the Fed and using it for corporate buybacks, pushing up their stock prices, acquiring more debt. These rates are going up now, and so when the money was free, it wasn't a big deal. But now, with the small amount of interest, it's becoming a huge deal. There would probably have never even been a bull market, a bull run in these markets if these companies didn't have access to free money to do the corporate buybacks, to push up the price of their own stocks, and to artificially prop up these markets. And a lot of this information I got off an article on Zero Hedge today, so you can check that out. But going back to what we're talking about, this all could have been prevented. We would have probably never even had a bull run if it wasn't for the easy access of free money, 0% interest rates, and corporate buybacks. Now, a 2% increase in rates has created a major crisis. 2 measly percent has created a major crisis. So now we don't have corporate buybacks. We don't have free money. And we have a measly 2% interest rate. And things are collapsing. So, how many people really thought that this was really a strong market, a robust market, when a 2% interest rate is turning this market into a critical emergency? So I guess things weren't as good as they said. And this whole thing again, with all the free money, all the corporate buybacks, has been nothing but an illusion. This has been a fragile economy for the last decade, propped up, artificially, man-made, injected free money, a total illusion, and people have been sucked into it hook, line, and sinker. And a lot of people are going to pay a severe price because they got sucked into these markets. And now, I don't know what they're going to do, but we may see the biggest crash in human history take place in the not so distant future. You have to ask yourself, do they even want to save this, or has this been the plan all along to just crash everything and bring it down? If you look at the central banks, they have the perfect storm now. This has been set up brilliantly. They've created multiple bubbles, more bubbles than we've ever seen in human history. We have a corporate bubble. We have a consumer debt bubble. We have a stock market bubble. We have a bond bubble and even a dollar bubble. They have now gained more control. The central bank has gained more control than they've ever had before here in America because of debt. They have the control because they've put all of these sectors and households into debt. The Fed now is attacking Trump financially. And so they couldn't get Trump any other way. So what other way? The old Al Capone way. Go after him financially. Go after America financially. Bring it down financially. America has to be very careful right now because we can see massive pain coming to America with the financial nuclear bomb that is being detonated right now. These markets are going to continue to get worse. Things that we have to watch out for, warning signs, again, more red flags of why it's going to continue to get worse. Look at the city of Chicago. They may have to default on their pensions because they're completely broke. Each citizen in Chicago owes, not each family household, each citizen owes $140,000 in order to make their pension system whole again. That's not going to happen. So more than likely, Chicago will default. The state of Illinois will probably default. They owe over $100 billion with a B, over $100 billion of debt. They cannot even pay their lottery winners. We have half of the United States struggling to pay rent or buy enough food. These people are literally one event away from being homeless. They're a flat tire away from being homeless. That's half of America. Yet we care, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi care more about letting illegal aliens coming into America, okay, so that we can pay for these people through higher taxes while we have people literally on the brink of homelessness here in America because they're a paycheck away from being homeless and being on the street. Unemployment numbers in 2019 more than likely are going to go up. GDP next year is probably going to be less than it was in the last couple of years. A lot of people working right now are continuing still working part-time jobs, or they're working for undervalued wages. So the standard of living is coming down. The middle class is being decimated. And these are just signs of the direction that America is going into. This isn't fear porn. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is real life. This is what's happening. I'm just reporting what I'm observing. These are facts. You can Google this. This is just common news. Another big concern, countries ditching the US dollar, China, Japan, Russia, multitudes more of other countries are ditching the US dollar and are going to continue to ditch dollars in 2019. The dollar is going to be weakening in the future, and so we're going to see pressure on the US dollar. We have pressure in all these markets, and wait till the world reserve currency starts to become under pressure. If anything happens to our reserve status, America will be a third world country overnight. I don't care what anybody says. I'm a supporter of President Donald Trump. Take a look at his enemies. People can say he's part of the club, he's a central banker, etc. Listen, take a good look at his enemies. Here is a president right now willing to shut the government down to get the money, part of the money to start this wall. Look at the people and the globalists who hate this man. George Soros hates Donald Trump. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, the corrupt agents in the FBI, CIA, Department of Justice, the Republican sellouts, these people hate Donald Trump. I think you can tell a lot by somebody's enemies. Donald Trump, whether you like him, hate him, I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying I agree with everything he says or does. But one thing I do know is Donald Trump is not trying to hurt America. He is not trying to go and start wars all over the world. He is not trying to bankrupt America. He's done everything he can possibly do with one arm tied behind his back. And as long as the people that voted him in and support him, as long as they stand behind this president, I believe he's going to continue to fight for America, and I believe that he will be victorious. I believe America will be victorious. Listen, if Trump doesn't succeed, get ready to issue in socialism on top of the socialism we already have here in America. Get ready to turn America over to socialism and the globalist elite, because after this is the direction it's going to go. If they bring Donald Trump down, if they bring America down, socialism and globalism is here to stay. We will never experience the America we grew up in. Your kids will never grow up in the America that you grew up in once this is defeated. Once America is brought down and globalism is here, it is here to stay. Trump was reported saying that the Democrats are so intent on stopping America's recovery that they're willing to set off a destabilizing crisis at the border, an economic collapse, and even a civil war as a means of ejecting him from the Oval Office. He believes the military and the people would rise up, that the armed civilians, the armed patriots in America alongside the military would rise up, and we would probably be in a civil war at that point. I totally do believe that that is a huge possibility if they try to do anything to remove Donald Trump. Again, these are not conspiracy theories. This is where we're living at in America today. This is how far we have come. 70 years of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, these people who talk about values. These are the enemies of America. These are the people who have sold you and I out. And we finally have a president standing up to them, willing to do something, yet people demonize and criticize this man. If we do not support this president, we are handing this country over to the globalists, socialism, and America is done. We have got to support this president, whether you like him or not. The option that we would get if Donald Trump loses is not one you even want to entertain. With all that said, I think that points to the direction we're going in. Unless they start rolling out helicopter money again and dropping rates to zero or negative zero, that might be a temporary fix, a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, but it will have major catastrophic effects on our financial system. So I think that we can expect to see more chaos, more volatility, and more pain. And America is going to feel massive pain because of this debt and because we've been allowed to have 0% interest rates for a decade, and all of the corporate buybacks, all of the free money, all this nonsense that's been going on for way too long. We are going to feel real pain in America, and you need to make sure that you're prepared to deal with it so that you can lessen the amount of pain that you and your family is going to feel. Everybody's going to feel the pain. No matter how prepped you are, how prepared you are, everybody will feel the pain because of what's been allowed to happen over decades. And again, the money printing, going off of a gold standard and allowing the printing presses to go wild. We're going to see mass casualties socially, physically, politically because of what has been allowed to happen. Make sure you have food and water. Make sure you have a trauma kit. Make sure you have medicine. Make sure you have guns and ammo. Pay down your debt. I believe that things must crash, whether it is purposely done by Trump or it is done by the central banks. It's going to happen no matter what. You need to just accept the fact that America is going to crash at some point. And whether it's Trump or the central banks, it's going to crash. It must crash no matter what. We possibly could see the biggest depression in history, and we must be prepared for that. And if you're awake and aware to that, and you're preparing right now, it's going to be much easier to survive this and even prosper during a depression. You know, make sure that you have all your preps in order and that you're adding to them. I believe the crash is imminent. At that point, I believe that we need to go back to a gold standard and end the Federal Reserve. This country needs to take its power back and take this power away from the central bank, give the power to the Treasury. We need to back our currency again with gold, but nothing is going to happen until things crash. And I think that when it does crash, these people who've been living in an illusion with reality TV, watching football every day, playing fantasy football, playing video games, smoking weed 5 times a day, people who've been living in a cloud. These people need to be woken up. We need to shake this country up. We need to reset it, and people need to be aware of the criminals, the traitors, and the people who got us to this point, and justice must be served. Things must crash. They must reset, and people must pay a severe price for robbing America, the treasonous acts that have taken place throughout these institutions like the FBI, Department of Justice, people in Washington, people in the media. People need to pay a price for what they've done to America and the pain that they're going to cause many of the citizens of America. So don't be a casualty. Don't be a victim of this. Get prepared the best that you can and be ready for very, very dark times coming to America. I'm going to close the video out. One word: complacent. This is not the time to be complacent. This is not the time to be running up debt. This is not the time to be spending money, especially money you don't have, or buying stuff you don't need. If this thing doesn't come tumbling down next week, next month, do not be complacent. This could be a slow burn, but take a look at the warning signs and the direction we're going in. Take every day as an opportunity to prepare. Do not be complacent. I believe now time is of the essence. And if this doesn't happen for a year, great. You've had a year to prep, to prepare, to get into a mental mindset, mentally, physically, and spiritually, to undertake what is going to happen here in America. We are going to see our environment change drastically. You're going to see things that you never thought could ever happen in America. Be ready to adapt to a new environment. Do not be complacent. Get prepared. Make sure you're training, guns, ammo, food, water, trauma kits, medicine, and gold and silver. You better be holding assets, because this is going to be the only thing that preserves your wealth. So when we come out of a Great Depression, we come out of a major recession, you are holding wealth so that you get off to a good start when things reset. I will talk to you guys very soon. Have a great week. God bless you guys. Thanks for all the subscriptions. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Share this video. We need more people to subscribe so we can continue to get this message out, wake up our fellow Americans, continue to wake up your friends, family, churches, people you don't even know. Just continue to wake people up. We need people to awaken in America so we do not lose this country. America is too valuable to lose. This is the greatest planet, the greatest country on planet Earth. It's been good to us. We've been blessed to be born here, or blessed to be citizens here wherever you came from. If you're a citizen of the United States of America, you know why you came here, because it is still the greatest country in the world. It is worth saving. God bless you guys. I will talk to you very soon.